Today in Cham session, we are going to deal with a topic that touches almost everybody's life, and that is grief and how to deal with it. Now, some grief or the other is there in everybody's life. Is there anyone who has not ever suffered even one of the following? It could be a loss of a loved one. It could be a divorce. It could be estrangement from parents. It could be some kind of illness, mental or physical, some kind of loved one being handicapped or mentally unstable. Any one of this. Is there anybody who's never been touched with any of these things? I don't think there would be a single person who's not faced some loss, some grief at some time or the other in their lives. It just depends on how you deal with it. What you think about it, how well prepared you are, and a lot of people just disintegrate, when grief comes into their life. To me, I think being alive means going through tough times. Easy times anybody goes through, but the way you go through tough times defines the person you are and defines the rest of your life also. So, what we'll today talk about is the strategies of dealing with this grief. जब भी आपकी जिंदगी में कोई भी दुख आता है तो उसमें डील करने के लिए हम बहुत लोग आपने देखा होगा वो बिखर जाते हैं। कुछ लोग इतने ज़्यादा स्पिरिचुअलिटी की तरफ जाते हैं क्योंकि उनको कोई क्लच चाहिए, उनको कोई सहारा चाहिए जिस पे वो लीन कर सके और अपने दुख उस पे डाल सके। कुछ लोग अपने अंदर सिमट जाते हैं, वो किसी से कोई रिश्ता नाता कुछ रखना ही नहीं चाहते। कुछ लोग उससे उभरते ही नहीं हैं और उन पास्ट की यादों में इतना जीते हैं कि उनकी जो प्रेजेंट लाइफ है वो डिसइंटीग्रेट हो जाती है। So, if you know how to deal with grief, if you are prepared to deal with a loss or grief, it helps you go through the rest of your life in a more comfortable manner. Whoever goes through this kind of loss or grief, it is not that it's small. I'm not underestimating it. It's a huge loss. It is something that, you have to deal with. Now, what happens is that when you sort of get a clutch of, say, either spirituality or some godman or, some person as such whom you start depending on, it is still a straw. It can break anytime. And when you're too dependent on something else, your life takes a different turn. To me, life is something that has to be lived and to the best of its capacity. There is, nothing called why me. The first strategy is to tell yourself, why not me? There is, nobody has come with a written guarantee that your life will be smooth. And if you're a good person, it does not mean at all that you will not face setbacks in life. A lot of people say, मैं तो इतना अच्छा हूँ, मैंने तो किसी का बुरा भी नहीं किया, तो मेरे साथ क्यों हुआ? सब अच्छे लोगों के साथ हमेशा सब अच्छा नहीं होता है और सब बुरे लोगों के साथ हमेशा बुरा नहीं होता है. So, if we understand that life is not always fair, life is not always about equations, we will understand dealing with grief a lot better. So, when people, go through a major crisis in life, that is the first thing that hits them, that I cannot live without, this particular person or a particular situation. It is not true because the world carries on. And I think at that time when friends tell you this shall pass or the world will carry on, they seem such empty words. But the trick is to be prepared to deal with grief when you're not facing the grief, so that you're mentally resilient when the grief comes to you. You don't have to be waiting for a calamity to occur, but it can occur any time. So instead of being taken by surprise and shock and not knowing how to deal with it, it is better to mentally prepare yourself and know how grief is to be dealt with. I personally have, 3 strategies which I not only say that you should imbibe, but I have imbibed in my own life and have found it very, very useful. It is not that I have personally not gone through a big grief. I have. But life does not stop. And if I did not have the mental tenacity to put up with that grief, I would be a broken person. So the first is, know that life is not fair. Know that suffering is a part of life, and do not feel discriminated. भगवान से शिकायत करना या अपनी किस्मत से शिकायत करना कि मेरे साथ ऐसा क्यों हुआ is not the solution at all. Every person who has come into the world has to deal with grief. And this is what we should, I think, imbibe in our children also, so that they become mentally resilient and they know how to deal with it. After all, tomorrow they will they will face the loss of parents, they will face the loss of loved ones. So how resilient they are will determine what their future course is going to be like. I have seen families where they have lost a child. I think the biggest grief that you can have is loss of a child. And the way they have dealt with it has determined the rest of their life. Some people who get shattered, they have families which go through a lot of trauma, even divorce, and even this has an effect on the other children that they have, because the parents have not been able to deal with the grief of one child. However, if they know how to deal with it, अगर वो resilient है, अगर उनको मालूम है कि ये जो life है ये ऐसे चलेगी आगे और चलनी चाहिए, तो उससे जो उनकी dealing है वो at least उनकी आगे की खुशियों को खराब नहीं करेगी. So that is why it's very important to always ask this question to yourself: why not me? अगर दुनिया में इतने दुख आ सकते हैं, अगर दुनिया में लोग इससे भी ज्यादा दुखी हो सकते हैं, तो मेरे को आया दुख तो कौन सी इतनी बड़ी बात है. सो अगर मुझे आया तो ये मेरे हिस्से का दुख है. सो दिस इज द फर्स्ट स्ट्रैटेजी यू एम्प्लॉय टू डील विद ग्रीफ. द सेकंड वन इज दैट one thing you should remember, that there are few things in life you can change and few things you cannot. So change what you can, but accept what you cannot. Now, if you've lost a child, if you've lost a parent, if you've lost a spouse, there is nothing you can do about it. The person is not going to come back. So if you cannot change the circumstances, you have to accept it in the best possible way. You're getting shattered or you're not leading a happy life later is not going to benefit the person who has gone. So this is a very important part. And also remember that your being happy is not disrespect to the person who has gone. Anybody who loves you truly will want you to be happy. So it is disrespect to a person you love if you wallow in self-pity and you do not make anything out of your life after the person has gone. If you believe that there is life after death, probably you could believe that the person sees you and is not happy about your not being happy. But if you don't believe that there is life after death and a person has gone, what purpose does it serve for you to make your other loved ones unhappy? Because if you are going to be unhappy, your loved ones are going to be unhappy. So that is the second strategy. Choose to change what you can. If you can change your circumstances, nothing like it, by all means. but if you can't, learn to accept them. There is, find the benefits of life as you go along. So that is very important in dealing with grief. Thirdly, when you deal with grief, accept your circumstances by talking to yourself. Now, if you have a family member or a friend you are comfortable with, always share your grief. A lot of people, they don't like to talk about it. उनको ये लगता है कि या तो दुनिया मजाक उड़ाएगी या उनको समझेगी नहीं और या उसको बढ़ा चढ़ा के एक दूसरे को फैलाएगी. Even if they do, it's your life. So once you've got it out of your system, at least you are feeling relieved. So when you share your grief with another person, trust a person that the person will be sympathetic. If not, just give your patient hearing. Do not go to negative people. Do not go to people who will over sympathize with you. Go to strong, emotionally strong people who will understand and give you strength. And if you don't have anybody, the best thing is to self-nurture. सेल्फ नर्चर इज कि आप अपने आप को सेल्फ सजेशन पे जब डील करते हैं तो आपकी इनर स्ट्रेंथ तो काम करती है और वो लॉन्ग टर्म में आपको ज्यादा हेल्प करती है. सो दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एंड इट इज अ वेरी नॉर्मल प्रोसेस इन ग्रीफ दैट फर्स्ट यू विल फील गिल्टी, यू विल फील एंगर, यू विल फील सैड, यू विल फील डिसबिलीफ कि मेरे साथ ये कैसे हो गया. एंड ऑल दीज इमोशंस आर वेरी वेरी नेचुरल. But they should not be prolonged. They should not go to a point where you don't come out of it. Because after these emotions should come the acceptance. And then after the acceptance should come the feeling that life has to go on and happily. A lot of people say, oh, life has to go on. So, अब जिंदगी काटनी है. जिंदगी काटने के लिए नहीं होती है. जिंदगी गुजारने के लिए. So when you actually participate in life, that is where the grief in your system comes down. And it is not, do not feel guilty that it is being, disloyal to a person's memory. It is not. It is living life as it comes. So it's very important to develop the resilience within yourself. And resilience is one quality that one has to develop in one's children also. And this, when you can develop in your children, you will find that they turn out to be wholesome adults. So that is very important to inculcate in your children also, and to do that first in yourself. Do not and your child perceives a parent as strong, as a pillar of strength. So if you shatter, your children will never develop that confidence in you that whenever they face a problem in life, they can come to you. And I hope this helps you, because this is not only important when you are going through grief, it is important when you are going through life. Before any grief comes, be prepared that life is not smooth. So I hope it helps some of you, if not all of you. Thank you very much. I'll come up with some more sessions of these little traits that you can develop in yourself and your children. Thank you.